Society teaches that power is loud, that dominance announces itself, that respect is earned through constant performance. That is social programming, and it is designed to keep men visible, predictable, and easy to manage. A truly dangerous aura is the opposite.
You don't demand attention, it triggers you.
How many times has a man walked into a room and the energy shifted without him saying a word? How many times has someone been underestimated because he looked calm, and then everyone regretted it? And how many times has the viewer felt the opposite, talking too much, explaining too much, trying too hard, only to watch respect dissolve in real time? Here's what they don't tell you. People do not follow what they understand. They follow what they cannot fully read.
When a man is transparent, he is controllable.
When a man is emotionally available on demand, he is trainable. When a man constantly signals his intentions, he becomes a piece on someone else's board, and the cost of ignoring this is not abstract.
It is social positioning.
It is opportunities quietly closing. It is being framed before the first sentence leaves the mouth. It is the slow humiliation of realizing the system rewards men who can control perception, not men who beg to be seen. This is not about confidence tips. This is not about posture tricks. This is about power dynamics, human nature, and the social hierarchy operating exactly as it always has, only now it is hidden behind modern politeness. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago, not because he was evil.
This is because he observed the system without comforting lies.
He watched how princes stayed alive while everyone else stayed moral and powerless. And the promise here is simple. By the end, the viewer will understand how to build an aura that makes people pause before they test, hesitate before they disrespect, and second guess before they attempt control. But there's something even darker about this. We'll get to that in a moment. Machiavelli did not write for dreamers, he wrote for survivors. In Renaissance Italy, power was not an abstract concept. It was a daily threat. City-states collapsed, alliances shifted overnight. Leaders were betrayed by friends, poisoned by rivals, destroyed by naive virtue. The moral man did not win because he was moral. He won only if he understood the rules of the game being played beneath the surface. This is why Machiavelli wrote, not to teach cruelty for entertainment, but to explain what human nature does when stakes are real. Modern society claims it has evolved beyond these dynamics.
That claims status is irrelevant.
It claims everyone is equal inside the room.
Hands on the upright, but to claim wars.
But the system still runs on the same hidden code. It simply changed the language.
Now domination is called confidence.
Manipulation tactics are called networking.
Frame control is called leadership.
And the masses applaud it because they do not recognize it. Here's what they don't tell you. The social hierarchy never disappeared. It went silent.
People still rank.
They still scan for weakness, hunger, neediness, and emotional instability because human nature is built to measure risk. A dangerous aura is not magic. It is the result of signals, not loud signals.
Subtle signals.
The kind the brain reads before words are processed. And this is exactly why modern society hides this knowledge. Because once a man understands perception, he stops begging for validation. He stops explaining. He stops reacting. He stops donating emotional labor to people who have not earned access.
That is dangerous to the system.
Because the system feeds on predictable men.
Please, last minute, this way wasn't good.
To be agreeable.
To be open.
To be harmless.
Only salmon TV.
To be instantly understandable. But the powerful understand harmlessness does not create respect. It creates permission. This is where the viewer separates from the masses. The masses want to be liked.
The enlightened want to be unplayable.
And now the first open loop must be planted. Yes, aura can be built with silence, posture, and discipline. But there is something even darker underneath it, because the most dangerous aura is not what a man shows. We'll get to that in a moment. Principle 1. Scarcity of access creates authority. The first law of a dangerous aura is simple. A man becomes valuable when access to him becomes uncertain. The masses give unlimited access, unlimited explanation, unlimited reaction, unlimited emotional transparency. And then they wonder why people stop respecting them. Human nature does not respect what it can consume freely. This is power dynamics at the level of the nervous system. The brain assigns value through scarcity. When something is always available, it becomes background noise. When something is selective, it becomes important. A dangerous aura is created when the viewer's presence feels like a privilege, not a free service. This does not require arrogance. It requires structure. The powerful understand. Attention is currency. Emotional energy is currency.
And one.
Time is currency. And currency is never given away without consequence. So the first move is not intimidation. It is controlled availability. When someone provokes, most men rush to correct the misunderstanding. When someone disrespects, most men rush to restore fairness. When someone withdraws, most men rush to chase. That is exactly why they lose. Because chasing communicates one thing. The other person controls the frame. Frame control is the invisible dominance of deciding what matters, what gets attention, what gets emotional energy. The man who reacts on command is not powerful. He is trained.
A dangerous aura is built by refusing to be trained.
Now, a concrete example, because the mind needs proof. Consider a court. Any court. A king sits. A room full of men wait. Why does the king feel powerful before he speaks? Because access to him is control. Because not everyone gets a word. Because time with him is limited. Because approaching him carries risk. Modern men do the opposite. They offer themselves instantly. They defend themselves instantly. They explain instantly. And people read it as weakness. Not because the world is fair, but because human nature equates urgency with insecurity. So the first tactical method, reduce emotional response time. When attacked, do not answer immediately. Pause. Let silence do the first strike.
More signals, this does not shake the center.
Reduce explanation volume. Answer with fewer words than expected. The man who can say little while holding the room is always ranked above the man who needs paragraphs to be understood.
Reduce availability to disrespect.
Do not reward poor behavior with engagement. Engagement is payment, and payment funds the behavior. People test boundaries because they are mapping the social hierarchy. They test the viewer because they are asking.
Can he be moved?
Can he be baited?
Can he be pulled into my frame?
A dangerous aura answers with one message. A dangerous aura answers with one message. But there's a deeper layer. Most people think this is about being quiet. It is not. It is about causing uncertainty in the minds of others. When someone cannot read the viewer, their brain fills the gaps with imagination. And imagination is almost always more intimidating than reality. Now, most people stop here, but that's why they fail. There's a second layer.
Principle 2. Controlled ambiguity forces projection.
Well, what they don't tell you.
People do not see others objectively. They project.
This is dark psychology, the level of perception.
When information is incomplete, the mind completes it, and it completes it using fear, desire, and bias. The masses overshare. They reveal intention.
They reveal insecurity.
They reveal motives. And then they become easy to manipulate. A dangerous aura is built by giving people just enough to respect, but not enough to predict. This is where Machiavellian strategy becomes visible. Machiavelli observed that leaders who are fully understood are easily overthrown.
Because enemies can calculate them.
Friends can exploit them.
Crowds can frame them. But leaders who remain partially unknown force everyone else to guess. And in the social hierarchy, the one who forces guessing usually holds leverage.
This is the darker mechanism of humanity for to master on your things.
Ambiguity creates psychological pressure.
A man with a dangerous aura is not confusing for no reason. He is selective. He reveals competence. He reveals standards. He reveals calm. But he does not reveal emotional weak points. Now a story example, because this must become real. Imagine a political rival trying to provoke a leader publicly. The weak leader responds with visible anger.
The crowd learns this is his button.
From that day forward, enemies press it. All debates become emotional traps. The powerful leader does not take the bait. He looks. He pauses. He speaks slowly. He answers the question behind the question. He refuses the frame. And the crowd learns something else.
This man cannot be moved.
That is aura. Now the status check-in. If the viewer is still watching, the viewer is already ahead of 90% who clicked away because this makes them uncomfortable. Because the masses want comfort. The enlightened want truth. So the tactical moves of controlled ambiguity speak in conclusions, not in justifications.
Justifications invite debate.
Conclusions end debate. Never reveal what hurts. Reveal principles. Reveal standards. Reveal discipline. But never reveal wounds to people who have not proven loyalty. Let others talk more than the viewer. The more they speak, the more they expose motives. The more the viewer listens, the more the viewer becomes the one who sees. This flips the social hierarchy immediately, because the person who observes usually holds frame control. And here's where most people get this completely wrong. They think being mysterious means being distant and awkward. No, the dangerous aura is warm enough to be human, but closed enough to be untouchable. Now plant the next open loop. Ambiguity builds pressure. Scarcity builds value. But the next principle is where it gets truly dangerous, because it teaches how to weaponize expectation itself. Principle 3. Preemptive frame control wins before conflict starts. Most men think dominance begins when conflict appears. That is why they lose. The powerful understand dominance begins before conflict is visible. This is frame control at the highest level. If the viewer controls the frame, the viewer controls the interpretation of everything that happens. A dangerous aura is not just how the viewer looks, it is what the room assumes about the viewer. The masses wait to be evaluated.
The powerful walk in as the evaluator.
Human nature responds instantly to this reversal, because the social hierarchy is built on who seeks approval and who grants it. Weak people enter rooms hoping to be accepted. Powerful people enter rooms expecting standards. That expectation alone changes posture, eye contact, pace, and presence. And those signals are read unconsciously. Now connect to real-life situations. In a workplace, the average man tries to be easy to work with. He laughs too much. He agrees too quickly. He explains too deeply. Then a manipulator arrives. A coworker frames him as incompetent. A manager assigns blame. A rival tests him in meetings, and the man reacts because he never established the frame. The dangerous aura establishes it early, not by being aggressive, by behaving as if respect is normal, as if boundaries are assumed, as if competence is expected. This is the silent law. People treat the viewer how the viewer teaches them to treat him. Now, most people think X, but here's where it gets dark. The first disrespect is rarely about disrespect. It is about seeing what the viewer will tolerate. Tolerance sets the price.
So the tactic?
Correct the frame immediately, calmly, with minimal words. No anger, no explanation. A simple line, a pause, a change of topic.
The message. That does not land here.
Use expectation language.
Not pleading language. Not defensive language. Expectation language is the language of authority. Control the emotional temperature. When others rise emotionally, the viewer lowers. That contrast makes the viewer look powerful automatically. Warning: this is where you need to be careful, because some men discover these tactics and become reactive tyrants. They confuse dominance with hostility. They become loud. They perform power instead of embodying it. A dangerous aura is never frantic, never rushed. It is controlled, slow, deliberate. But knowing these isn't enough. You need to understand how they combine. Principle 4, the forbidden law. The ability to withhold becomes a weapon. The final principle is the most powerful. And it is forbidden knowledge for a reason. Most people cannot handle the truth that social dominance is often built on what is withheld, not what is given.
The masses give.
They give attention. They give compliment.
They give emotional access. They give explanation. They give second chances to people who disrespect them, and then they wonder why the system treats them as disposable. The powerful understand withholding is not cruelty.
Withholding is control.
This is why Machiavelli wrote about appearing generous while being strategically disciplined with resources. Because resources create dependence. Dependence creates leverage. Leverage creates power dynamics. Now apply this to aura. A dangerous man is not defined by what he offers. He is defined by what he refuses to offer without standards. He refuses to offer emotional reactions on demand. He refuses to offer validation cheaply. He refuses to offer access to anyone who has not earned it. And here's what Machiavelli never explicitly wrote, but understood. The most feared man is not the man who attacks. It is the man who can choose not to, because choice signals power. Compulsion signals weakness. A man who cannot stop himself from reacting is not dangerous. He is predictable. A man who can withhold reaction, attention, approval, and energy is unpredictable. And unpredictability, controlled unpredictability, creates fear and respect in human nature.
This integrates the entire system.
Scarcity creates value.
Ambiguity triggers projection. Frame control sets the hierarchy.
Withholding makes the viewer unbuyable.
That is aura.
Now the principles combine into a single strategy. First, scarcity limits access. This forces others to treat attention as currency. Second, ambiguity forces projection.
This makes others imagine competence, danger, or dominance because they cannot confirm the limits.
Third, frame control sets the hierarchy before conflict appears. This prevents manipulation tactics from landing because the viewer refuses the other person's narrative.
Sinsageisa. Fourth, withholding becomes the weapon.
Because the viewer's reactions, approval, and emotional energy are not for sale. Now some will say this is manipulation, Barry, but power doesn't care about labels. The system runs on power dynamics, whether the masses admit it or not. The world is divided into players and pieces. Which one will the viewer be? The masses are pieces because they are reactive. They can be pulled into arguments,
Pulled into justification.
pulled into neediness, pulled into emotional chaos. Players are different They choose. They pause. They observe. They decide what gets access. This is not about harming others. It is about refusing to be harmed by the invisible games people play.
And here's the final open loop resolution.
A dangerous aura is not built by intimidation. It is built by internal order that creates external consequences. Implementation must be concrete, because knowledge without execution is entertainment for the masses. Step 1. Today, practice the pause. In every conversation, insert a half-second of silence before responding. This breaks reactivity. This changes the viewer's presence immediately. Step 2. This week, reduce explanations by 30%. Answer with clean conclusions. Mathematics. Stop defending every decision. The viewer is not in court. Step 3. This month, establish one boundary and enforce it calmly. Not emotionally, not aggressively. Calm enforcement is what creates authority. Step 4. Ongoing control availability. Stop rewarding disrespect with attention. Stop chasing unclear people. Stop negotiating with those who test. Step 5. Master frame control. In every interaction, ask silently, who is defining what this means? Then refuse frames that weaken the viewer.
The viewer now knows what 99% of people will never understand.
Because most men would rather feel good than become powerful. This is what building a dangerous aura actually is. Not outfits, not theatrics, not performance. It is the result of discipline applied to perception. The transformation promise is direct. When a man becomes scarce, controlled, and unbuyable, the room adjusts. People hesitate. Tests become softer, disrespect becomes rare, manipulators look elsewhere. Most people will watch this and do nothing. That's why they stay powerless. They consume knowledge like comfort. They never use it as a weapon. If this resonates with the part of the viewer that's tired of being controlled by systems they don't understand, then the viewer knows what to do. Because the masses chase approval. The powerful build presence. And once the viewer masters this code, there is no going back.